They said Ryan Reynolds could do no wrong. But behind the jokes and billion-dollar brands lies something darker. A lawsuit so serious, it could erase everything he's built. This is a story Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood's golden boy. The charming face behind Deadpool, Aviation Gin, and Mint Mobile. But behind the smile, there's a storm quietly building. A lawsuit, one that could destroy not just his image, but an entire company he proudly fronts. This is the story of Mountain Incorporated, also known as MNTN, a company Ryan has been tied to as both a board member and the public face of innovation in digital advertising. But today, that innovation is under fire, because the very technology they're bragging about might not be theirs at all. In the last few years, Ryan Reynolds built a reputation not just as an actor, but as a marketing genius. His ad agency, Maximum Effort, became known for its witty, viral campaigns. When he sold his stake in Mint Mobile and later joined MNTN, people believed he'd officially moved from Hollywood to business brilliance. But that's where the story twists. MNTN's claim to fame is its so-called breakthrough ad tracking technology. They tell brands they've invented a revolutionary way to track TV ads and online behavior, a system that supposedly connects your phone, laptop, and smart TV to measure how ads drive sales. On paper, it sounds impressive, but in reality, someone else already owned the patent. That someone is Intent IQ, a massive player in the world of digital advertising data. They're not flashy. They don't make celebrity commercials, but they own something incredibly powerful: patents. And not just one or two, but over 80 patents that form a foundation for how online ads are tracked across devices. These patents are like the skeleton of the entire internet advertising system. Whenever you see an ad on your TV that matches something you search on your phone, that's technology covered under Intent IQ's intellectual property. And here's the problem. MNTN's new breakthrough system looks almost identical to those patents. On May 23rd, just one day after MNTN went public, Intent IQ filed a massive lawsuit. They accused MNTN, the company Ryan Reynolds promotes, of willfully infringing on their patents. In simple words, Intent IQ says MNTN stole their technology, rebranded it, and sold it as their own. They didn't stop there. The lawsuit claims MNTN didn't just copy the tech by accident. They knew about Intent IQ's patents. They were warned, and still, they kept using it. Intent IQ's legal team came prepared. They included side-by-side comparisons showing the MNTN system, the very core of their business, mirrors a patented system nearly word for word. One example. Intent IQ's patent describes a process like this: receiving at a computer system an electronic identifier of the first device. MNTN's document says, receives at the computer an electronic identifier of the first device. Almost the same, word for word. Intent IQ argues that MNTN's innovations are nothing but minor rewordings of their own inventions. And because of that, MNTN's entire ad tracking business, everything it sells, might be illegal. Now, here's where it gets serious. This lawsuit isn't just about one idea or one campaign. It's about the foundation of MNTN's business model. If Intent IQ wins, the court could order MNTN to stop using the technology immediately, pay millions in damages, and possibly shut down parts of their operation entirely. That means all the investors who bought into MNTN after its IPO could be holding shares in a company that can't legally run its own software. And here's the shocking part. When MNTN released their Q2 investor report, they didn't mention this lawsuit at all. By law, companies must disclose any lawsuits that could seriously impact their finances or operations. Failing to do that isn't just suspicious. It could be securities fraud. So, why didn't they mention it? Maybe they thought no one would notice. Or maybe they're hoping to quietly settle it behind closed doors. But this isn't the first time Ryan Reynolds has been tied to a company facing accusations like this. His gin brand, Aviation Gin, was sold for hundreds of millions, but faced questions about licensing and ownership of its formula. His phone company, Mint Mobile, was sued in a class action lawsuit for allegedly recording customer calls without permission, and his agency, Maximum Effort, was once caught in legal drama involving another company, Belden, for breach of contract and marketing disputes. Now, Mountain Incorporated, the company he fronts, stands accused of patent theft. Coincidence? Maybe, but it's starting to look like a pattern. Ryan's success has always come with a story. He's the relatable celebrity, the self-made marketing genius, the actor who became a businessman. But behind that story, there's something that feels off. Every company he touches ends up wrapped in controversy. Whether it's lawsuits, stolen ideas, or questionable ethics, there's always another side to the story that never makes the headlines. And this time, the stakes are even higher, because MNTN isn't a small side project. It's a publicly traded company with millions of dollars in investor money on the line. And the lawsuit from IntenIQ? It's not just about money. It's about control of the very system that keeps digital advertising alive. IntenIQ's patent portfolio isn't small time. They've already sued and beaten companies like Amazon, who had to pay $122 million, Microsoft, LinkedIn, Meta, Roku, and Comcast. Some of those companies settled. Some paid huge judgments. Others even had their systems shut down until they licensed the patents. So when IntenIQ goes after someone, it's serious. If they're right, and MNTN really copied their system, the court could issue a permanent injunction, meaning MNTN can no longer use the very tech their company runs on. That would effectively kill the company. And yet, investors are still being told that MNTN's system is proprietary, their own invention. Their marketing decks brag about a unique tech stack that revolutionizes performance TV advertising. But if that stack belonged to someone else, that's not innovation. That's deception. And here's the dangerous part. Investors don't know it yet. The lawsuit wasn't disclosed in public earnings reports. It wasn't mentioned during their investor meeting. Not even a footnote. Which means, right now, people are putting their money into a company that might be built on stolen technology. IntenIQ's lawsuit details exactly how MNTN allegedly copied them. It says MNTN system uses performance TV audience targeting, attribution verified visits, and flexible APIs, all of which IntenIQ claims are protected by their patents 398 and 962. They allege that MNTN is still using these methods, even after being notified that they were infringing. That's what makes it willful infringement, the most serious kind. It's like being told you're trespassing and then refusing to leave. If the court agrees with IntenIQ, MNTN would have to pay a huge settlement, be banned from using their platform, and possibly shut down. Their entire ad system might go offline. And Ryan Reynolds' name, once again, would be tied to another business scandal. It's the kind of lawsuit that could destroy a brand overnight. Maybe Ryan didn't know. Maybe he's just the face, not the one writing the code. But he's also listed as a senior management member in their investor documents, right next to the chief brand officer and chief creative officer. He's not just the face. He's part of the team leading the ship. And when the ship hits an iceberg, the captain doesn't get to say, "I didn't see it coming." This lawsuit might be that iceberg, because this story doesn't end here. MNTN has not yet filed a full response to the lawsuit. They've brought in new lawyers. They've delayed their deadlines. And the court has given them just a few more days to reply. So what will they do? Will they settle quietly or fight a legal war that could expose everything? Ryan Reynolds isn't just a celebrity anymore. He's a brand, a system, a marketing machine built to make everything he touches turn to gold. From Aviation Gin to Mint Mobile, his success stories sound effortless. But the truth is, each one is built on a carefully crafted illusion. And MNTN is a perfect example of that. When Ryan joined MNTN, the pitch was simple: a creative platform for performance TV. It wasn't just ads. It was supposed to be the future of marketing, a place where creative storytelling meets cutting-edge technology. But what the public didn't see was who actually built that technology. Behind the scenes, MNTN was a startup built from scratch. It was a rebrand of older ad tracking software. Pieces of code borrowed, integrated, and redecorated under a shiny new name. And that's where things started to look suspicious. The company claimed it had developed a revolutionary method for tracking audience engagement. They promised brands measurable performance, conversions, verified visits, complete visibility. But under the hood, their system operated the same way countless other ad networks did, including the one patented by IntenIQ. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a strategy. When MNTN acquired Maximum Effort, Ryan's own agency, they didn't just buy a creative team, they bought his image. His face became the shield. His name became the distraction. Think about it. When a lawsuit hits a faceless tech company, it's news. When a lawsuit targets Ryan Reynolds' company, it's a PR disaster. So, instead of calling him a co-owner or executive, they branded him as a creative partner, a harmless storyteller, the funny guy doing commercials. But according to MNTN's official investor documents, he's not just a funny guy. He's listed as senior management, right alongside the core leadership team. That means he's part of the decisions, the strategy, the risk, And this time, that risk might be massive. Intent IQ's lawsuit doesn't just name MNTN. It names its system, its structure, its method of tracking users through IP addresses and shared networks. In short, everything that makes MNTN valuable could disappear overnight. If that happens, Ryan's maximum effort brand, the one powered by MNTN, collapses with it. And yet, you won't hear about this in entertainment magazines. There's no Ryan Reynolds lawsuit headline trending. Why? Because the people behind MNTN know how to keep the story quiet. While the company's lawyers were requesting deadline extensions in court, Ryan was busy filming cheerful content, new campaigns, interviews, and even new product partnerships. It's a perfect distraction. He plays the role of the smiling creator, while lawyers scramble to protect his empire behind the curtain. It's marketing genius, but it's also manipulation, because the fans only see what they're meant to see. They see the success, the charisma, the humor, not the fine print buried in legal filings and patent disputes. They see the brand, not the boardroom. But for anyone following closely, the timing of it all looks almost scripted. The lawsuit hits one day after MNTN goes public. Investors rush in, stocks climb, then silence. No press coverage, no corporate acknowledgement, just a shiny surface while cracks form underneath. If this were any other company, the headlines would scream massive patent theft scandal. But when the face of your brand is one of Hollywood's most beloved actors, that headline turns into a whisper, because no one wants to question the man who makes everyone laugh. But behind every smile, there's strategy. Ryan's business empire thrives on ownership, or at least the illusion of it. Aviation Gin? He didn't create it, but he became the brand. Mint Mobile? He didn't build a network, but he became the story. And now MNTN? He didn't invent the technology, but he became the genius behind it. That's the pattern. That's the illusion. He sells the story. The real work, the code, the technology, the legality, happens quietly in the background until it doesn't, until someone sues. And this time, that someone has a history of winning. Intent IQ isn't backing down. They've already forced tech giants to pay up or shut down. And if MNTN refuses to license the patent, they could lose everything fast. Investors will panic. Partnerships will end. Stock prices will crash. And Ryan's empire, built on charm, confidence, and control, could crumble right before everyone's eyes. The question now isn't whether MNTN copied the technology. It's whether Ryan knew about it. Because ignorance doesn't protect executives from responsibility. If he knew, he's complicit. If he didn't, he's careless. Either way, the result is the same. And that's why this lawsuit isn't just another headline. It's a window into how Hollywood's favorite businessman might be standing on a very fragile foundation. Because when the lawsuits pile up, the jokes stop landing. And when the truth finally comes out, even the best marketing in the world can't fix a broken reputation. The illusion always starts the same way. A big smile, a clever commercial, a viral moment that makes everyone forget to ask questions. Ryan Reynolds has built an empire out of charm, the kind that sells both gin and internet plans with the same grin. But charm doesn't fix everything. And lately, the cracks are showing. Because while Ryan's face dominates every ad and interview, behind the curtain, the structure holding everything together might be falling apart. And it starts with one question no one ever asks out loud. How much of what Ryan sells does he actually own? Let's break it down. Aviation Gin, the brand that made him the business genius. Ryan didn't start it. The company was founded in Portland by two entrepreneurs years before he arrived. He came in later, invested a small stake, and became the face of the brand. He didn't run the distillery, didn't craft the recipe, but his personality became the product. And when the brand sold to Diageo for over $600 million, Ryan's share was estimated at only around 20 to 25%. Not bad for an investor. But it's not what the headlines made it sound like. Mint Mobile, the next big move. Ryan Reynolds buys a phone company. That's what every headline said. But behind the scenes, Mint Mobile was already built, operational, and running on T-Mobile's network. Ryan didn't build the infrastructure. He became a shareholder and spokesperson. He was the illusion of ownership. Then came MNTN, a company. That looked like the moment Ryan finally crossed over from celebrity businessman to tech visionary. He wasn't just promoting a product. He was shaping a company. Or so it seemed. Because now, that company is being accused of building its entire value on stolen patents. And that accusation threatens to break the illusion completely. In public, MNTN projects confidence. They say they're revolutionizing the ad industry. helping brands measure the impact of TV campaigns in real time. Behind the scenes, their lawyers are scrambling to delay court filings and hide exposure. Ryan's team knows what's at stake. His image depends on control, on being seen as the man who always wins. That's why, every time a legal storm hits, the PR strategy is simple. Flood the internet with positivity. When Aviation Gin faced regulatory issues, Ryan posted funny videos. When Mint Mobile got sued, he dropped a new ad campaign. Now that MNTN's under fire, he's launching cheerful commercials with celebrities and holiday campaigns. It's distraction, perfectly timed distraction. But this time, something's different. The lawsuit isn't just about one deal or one brand. It's about credibility. Because if MNTN loses, it doesn't just hurt investors. It exposes a pattern, a repeating loop in Ryan's business life. A pattern of ownership that's more illusion than reality. See, Ryan's genius isn't building businesses. It's building stories around businesses. He finds a product, attaches his name, rewrites a narrative, and makes people believe it's his creation. He's not an entrepreneur in the traditional sense. He's a storyteller. And in Hollywood, storytelling is everything. But business doesn't work like movies. You can't rewrite a lawsuit. You can't charm your way out of patent infringement. And if you spent years telling people you're the genius behind it all, then when it crumbles, it's your name that burns first. That's exactly what's happening now. The cracks in the illusion are starting to show. MNTN's employees are whispering about budget cuts. Projects are slowing down. And while the company hasn't publicly addressed a lawsuit, several insiders have reportedly left without explanation. Investors are starting to ask hard questions. Why wasn't the lawsuit disclosed? Who actually built this technology? And most importantly, how much did Ryan Reynolds really know? Those are questions no PR campaign can silence. Because when a company like Intent IQ sues, they don't just accuse, they bring evidence. He's always been in control of the narrative. He knows how to turn controversy into comedy, scandal into self-deprecation, and chaos into content. But this time, the story's too big to laugh off. Because this time, the problem isn't a funny tweet or a bad ad. It's a federal court case. And in court, charm doesn't win. Facts do. It's ironic. The man whose master storytelling might finally face a story he can't control. And when that happens, the illusion might shatter for good. Because at the heart of all this, there's one simple truth. Ryan Reynolds is no longer just an actor or a businessman. He's a brand built on trust. And right now, that trust is cracking. As more people dig into the lawsuit, as more insiders leak information, as more investors start asking questions, that perfectly polished image starts to look less like genius and more like strategy. MNTN wanted to change the advertising world. Instead, it might expose how modern celebrity business actually works. Because maybe Ryan didn't build these companies from scratch. Maybe he built something else. A blueprint for how to turn fame into influence, how to sell trust as currency, and how to make millions off the illusion of control. But illusions don't last forever. And when the light hits the cracks, everything hidden becomes visible. That's the one thing Ryan Reynolds built his empire around. The control of his image, the control of every headline, the control of how people see him, the charming underdog who somehow always wins. But control is a fragile thing. And when you build your power on perception, all it takes is one truth to bring the whole structure down. The truth is already spreading. Investors are beginning to realize that MNTN, the company Ryan has publicly championed, isn't as bulletproof as it looked. The lawsuits are real, the patents are real, and the silence from inside the company is deafening. For months, MNTN tried to keep up appearances, glossy presentations, investor calls filled with marketing buzzwords, new celebrity partnerships to shift the spotlight, but the illusion is fading. And Ryan's empire, built on a foundation of marketing, not machinery, is starting to feel like a house of mirrors. Every reflection looks perfect, until you get close enough to see the cracks. The patent battle with Intent IQ has now reached a stage where both sides have submitted discovery requests. And that's where the real danger lies. Discovery means evidence, emails, internal communications, files that could prove who knew what and when. If even one email shows that MNTN's team, or anyone tied to Ryan, knew the technology wasn't theirs, everything changes. It wouldn't just be a lawsuit. It would become a story about deception. A story about how Hollywood's most trusted businessman sold the world a lie. And for someone who's built his life on authenticity, that would be the ultimate collapse. The fall of control. Because no amount of charm, no witty tweet, no clever commercial can rewrite the truth once it's in the open. Ryan's brand depends on control, but legal systems don't care about brands. They care about evidence. They care about ownership. They care about who really built what. And that's something no PR spin can cover. Still, it's important to understand something deeper here. Ryan Reynolds didn't invent the system. He perfected it. The celebrity business model. The fusion of fame and finance. The illusion that being likable equals being trustworthy. It worked for a long time. Until now. Because when the curtain starts to fall, the audience finally sees what's behind it. And behind Ryan's curtain isn't an evil mastermind. It's a man who played the same game as everyone else in Hollywood. Only this time, the stakes are bigger. He turned himself into a corporation. And corporations can be sued. If MNTN loses in court, the financial hit could ripple across everything Ryan is attached to. Brand deals, equity stakes, production partnerships. All of them depend on one thing, trust. And if that trust evaporates, the empire follows. For years, Ryan has controlled the narrative. He's the hero, the good guy, the one who brings heart to business. But the court doesn't care about the story. It only cares about the script written in code. The technology, the data, the stolen blueprints that no one wants to talk about. That's where the illusion ends. And yet, maybe this is the full circle moment of his career. Because the irony is hard to miss. Ryan Reynolds, the man who played Deadpool, the character who breaks the fourth wall, might finally be facing a real-life version of that moment. The wall between fame and truth is breaking. And on the other side of it is a reality he's tried so hard to control. The lawsuits will move forward. The court will decide. And the world will keep watching. Not because they wanted to fail, but because they can't look away when a story this big starts to crack. Every empire falls eventually. Some from greed, some from arrogance, and some from control. Because control isn't power. It's a performance. And performances always end. Maybe Ryan will recover. Maybe he'll settle quietly and move on. Or maybe this is the moment when illusion finally breaks for good. Either way, one thing is clear. The era of controlled narratives is dying. And even the most charming storyteller in Hollywood can't rewrite the ending this time. Because truth doesn't need a marketing campaign. It just needs time. And time always wins. The story doesn't end with a verdict. It never does. Because in the real world, truth doesn't crash like a wave. It erodes slowly, quietly, piece by piece. After the headlines fade, and the investors stop pretending they're surprised, what's left behind is a silence. The kind of silence that only comes when illusion finally breaks. Ryan Reynolds once said that his entire career was built on timing, knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet. But now, his silence speaks louder than anything else. The lawsuit against MNTN is still moving through the system. The filings keep coming. The deadlines keep shifting. And behind every extension, behind every no comment, there's a team scrambling to protect what's left. But damage isn't always visible. Sometimes it shows up in hesitation, in the way investors whisper before signing the next deal, in the way journalists start to dig a little deeper, in the way fans, once blinded by charisma, begin to question everything they thought they knew. Because this isn't just about one company or one patent. It's about a pattern of taking something that works and claiming it as your own, a pattern of control over the story, the image, the outcome. And when control starts to slip, it reveals what's underneath. Every public figure has a mask, but Ryan's was crafted by design, perfected through charm, humor, and the art of redirection. When scandal hit one side of his world, another success was always waiting to distract the audience. Mint Mobile, Aviation Gin, Wrexham FC, MNTN, a carousel of triumph spinning fast enough to blur the edges of controversy. But the carousel doesn't spin forever, and now it's slowing down. The legal documents filed by MNTN IQ are more than just accusations. They're blueprints of how a modern empire operates in plain sight. A step-by-step breakdown of innovation being repackaged as invention. A reminder that no amount of personality can protect you from intellectual property law. For the first time, the mask isn't cracking because of gossip. It's cracking because of evidence. Inside boardrooms, there's panic. Inside fan circles, there's denial. And in Hollywood, there's silence. The kind that comes when someone powerful finally becomes a liability. But here's the twist. This story isn't just about Ryan Reynolds losing control. It's about how we gave it to him in the first place. We believed the ads. We laughed at the jokes. We shared the clips, bought the products, watched the interviews. We helped build the myth of the man who could do no wrong. And maybe that's the real story. Because behind every empire is a crowd willing to cheer and a crowd unwilling to see. The aftermath of this lawsuit won't be an explosion. It'll be a slow unraveling, a fade instead of crash. The kind of ending that doesn't trend, but lingers. In the coming months, there'll be settlements, press releases filled with legal language and polished apologies. Maybe even another viral ad to redirect attention. But something will be different now. Because once people start to see the pattern, they can't unsee it. The illusion might return for a while. They always do. But it'll never feel as real again. Ryan Reynolds built a career selling honesty through performance. He blurred the line between who he is and what he sells. And maybe that's the tragedy of it all. Not that he lied, but that he believed his own illusion. So what happens next? Maybe he steps back. Maybe he rebuilds. Maybe he learns what most people in his position never do. That control isn't the key to greatness. It's the chain that keeps you from it. Because in the end, every empire falls. Not because of enemies, but because of truth. And when the lights fade, when the stage empties, when the cameras stop rolling, all that's